We'll start when we start. We're not. Yeah. Ooh, what's going on, man? You know, I was going to ask you though, Anthony, first earlier though. What do you know about real estate? Just like how much knowledge do you guys even you know about it?
I know nothing about real estate.
Really?
Really, I bought my own house.
You did? Oh, good.
In 2014. I was over there at church in Clovis area.
Smart.
And how was that process?
It was smooth. It was
you go.
It was smooth. We looked at a house, we liked it, and the market happened to be good at that time. It was 1,500 square feet.
Oh yeah.
And I walked out of there. It was asking 179, and we got it with 184.
Dude, I don't even remember those days. The 179. How many bedrooms you got?
179. 3, 2.
Oh, MG.
Mm-hmm. And it was built.
Man.
It was built in 2004.
Oh,
Still have that one today?
No.
No.
Sold,
I got
upgraded.
divorced. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
We split all the assets. So.
Yeah, but I'm
Gotcha.
still stuck on the price, bro. Like, I haven't seen anything.
Yeah.
And I've been full time. This is my 6th year. So when I first started, 179 might get you 2-bedroom, 1-bath in the hood somewhere, or even downtown.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like somewhere not really desirable. But man, 2014 though, that was a good time.
7.
Yeah. So, but it does show how real estate, man, is really like long term. I mean, you could see how you can create so much wealth and generate, that nest egg, right? You get it for 179. Imagine if that situation didn't happen, you sold it today.
I sold it.
That house probably worth 400,000, maybe.
I sold it, and then the pandemic hit a few months later, and then.
Oh, so this is.
Yeah, I
2020.
2018.
Oh, 18.
So, and then 2019, a few months later, had hit, and all the traveling nurses came, and all the out of towners came, and they were like buying houses down here and outbidding each other and just
it was
paying
crazy.
whatever they
wild.
wanted to for cheap houses over here.
Yeah,
and it's like, man, like I got away with mine for like 250.
That's still good. That's still good. And life happens.
Knowing what else everything else is going for.
Well, hey, we all could be feel victim a little bit to that because I sold a house, my last house, I think 2019, right? But and it was life situation. Sometimes we gotta sell, right? It is what it is, for whatever the situation. But ideally, but it does show the beauty of real estate in general, especially in the long term. If you're, the most money I've ever gotten at one time was from a sale of a property. You know what I mean? Like most people aren't getting, almost 6 figures or whatever, or somewhere even 2 digits, 50, 60 plus thousand at one time, so that's the beauty of home ownership, just as long as you stay in there long enough. And if you decide to sell, you got that equity in there, which makes sense. So
yeah, it was great. I
love it.
I was involved in all the process and everything. And
really,
I wanted to learn.
Hands on.
Yeah. When I got a mechanic, I'm standing there watching, not supervising, but I'm watching and I want to see. People were cutting our tree down the other day, and I'm standing there watching outside for an hour.
Taking notes. They're taking notes. And I got this next time. I'm calling you back.
And that's a beautiful. Not everyone's like that. So
no, you're right.
What you're telling me and what I've learned from being in this business, you got to be a student of life in general. So learning never stops, no matter how much you think how far you've gotten in your career. A lot of people feel like, oh yeah, you learned so much, I got it. Yeah. And that's a lot of a problem. I think a lot of people, sometimes they feel they know it all, and then it hinders them from growing and learning more and becoming more, because it doesn't matter where you are. You could be at the top of your profession. There's always something to learn, is what I've learned.
Yeah, no, I agree. Student of life prepares you to take those risks and take that leap of faith, like our guests here today.
Yes.
New entrepreneurs.
Let's get into it.
Let's introduce them here. Rich, go ahead and introduce who we got
here.
And
brings
tell
me
what we got. And
man, we got a fire episode. Let me take this off. I'm sure the bald head. Take the filters off. Let's get into it, because I'm super excited, guys, about this show right here. A young guy we met. It's a funny story how we met. Great story how we met. We met in someone's backyard, but we'll get into that later. Him and his soon-to-be wife, girlfriend right here. But this is Anthony Bautista, and he is the owner of Anthony Tacos. I'm sure you guys heard of that. If not, he's like the number one taco shop here. So welcome, Anthony Tacos, to the show.
Welcome to the both of you.
Next, the lovely Bianca Betancourt.
Yes. So,
all right.
business partner. I mean, I swear, guys. Make sure you guys, before we get into it, make sure you check out their Instagram because man, they do amazing things on the Instagram. Bianca's all over it. She's fully always in the videos, having people test the tacos. It's really entertaining and really great. So check that out. You'll see all about it. But man, welcome to the show, man. I'm glad to have you, man.
Mark.
Welcome to the show. Definitely. We like to get local community business owners here. Both of you are involved in this venture, and we like to see, how you started,
yes,
how it's going,
yes,
what the plans are for where it's going.
Yeah.
'Cause sometimes we got some people on here. We just had a Nick Butler, who you're familiar with the
Troy
Troy
Center.
Center. And when I asked him about his expansion, man, he was talking nationwide. He was talking mobile, and he blew my mind, man, with how some of these entrepreneurs think of their expansion. So love to get you guys on here and hear exactly what's coming to our community. So thank you for being here, man.
Love it.
Being here.
And just FYI, guys, I mean, this is what this show is all about. We're looking at, to bring on professionals, business owners, whatever, just to give inspiration and motivation out there, because there's a lot of things happening in our community that a lot of people are not aware of, and a lot of great businesses that, need to be showcased and kind of tell you their story, and hopefully it can motivate you. And not only that, hopefully you may decide to stop into one of their, and visit them and be a customer. So
agreed. So speaking of that story, let's hear it.
Yeah.
Let's hear it. How old is Anthony's Tacos? How'd this start, man? What'd that leap look like?
Yes.
Anthony's Tacos just hit 3 years.
3 years.
3 years on Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, well, happy birthday.
Hey.
Yes, happy birthday. That's a good
you
anniversary
right.
day.
Yeah.
You'll never forget that,
right? You did that right. Tacos on Cinco de Mayo.
I was working a 9-to-5 warehouse job. I've been there 8 years. And
where were you working before? I want to get the backstory to leading up.
It was a 3PL logistics company. They often lose contracts. So sometimes we were FedEx, sometimes we were DHL.
Gotcha.
They would bid the contract on the company who actually owned the product, but we were just the logistics, moving it to Costco's, Walmart's, and stuff. So, I worked there for a long time, just operating a forklift.
Clock in, clock out.
Clock in, clock out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you always have like the entrepreneurial mindset? Was it something you always dreamed about, or just?
I wasn't dreaming about it, but in high school, I took business. I joined the business academy, and they had us, learn how to do a business plan and teach us about ROI and just things you wouldn't normally learn about in school, finances and things like that. We built a whole business plan, and at the time, my passion was baseball, and I built more of a baseball training camp type of thing. And, they had us calculate and track our losses and
really map it out, huh?
All the things would cost and things like that. So,
right.
I mean, it was on my mind, but it was never on my mind to own my own, real company. I don't think I actually see myself starting a baseball camp or anything like that. But
wow.
They taught us how to do taxes.
So you had a baseball camp you started?
Yeah, virtually. I mean, a PowerPoint, and then they had us. How much would all your baseballs be? How much would all your gloves be? To start this business.
Just breaking it down.
A startup.
Breaking it down. Right.
And how old were you at this time? Just curious.
I was a junior in high school.
Wow.
And,
so you started young, already kind of getting a little bit in, the business,
right.
Getting your feet wet in business, like learning a little bit.
Yeah. So my freshman year, I signed up, not knowing our school only had business academy and health academy. If you wanted to be a doctor or something like that.
You want to shout out the school?
Roosevelt High School.
Rough Riders.
Hey.
I know, my wife's family and all that, they're all like, alumni of Roosevelt. My daughter, alumni of Roosevelt.
Nice.
So,
yeah.
It's the family thing.
You know what? I'm not sure that Sanger High had a business academy. I don't recall ever. So, man, that's
big. Yeah.
I mean,
So
that's
Roosevelt,
great. You
I know it's a performing arts
you
school,
plant that
but
seed early on, and it leads to Anthony's Tacos years later.
See?
So, go ahead. Go ahead.
Keep going.
Yeah, it was definitely just it brought me to, like I said, like a lot of things you don't learn in school, certain things around business.
Right.
I just got to read about or that our teacher just instilled in us, and I started thinking the way of a businessman. I started thinking like, how much does this garment cost to make, and how much it retails for, and just like it helped me like not purchase things or like just be like, man, it ain't worth it, or So I probably did be more business minded rather than not being in there, and
Yeah, I always thought of because I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. Like, is the business mind, because not everyone has that business mentality, right?
Mm-hmm.
To want to start and go off, because it's risky, and you know, you got to be,
you
got to be on top of everything, got to be very responsible, liable, and all that, and accountable. So I'm trying to figure out, like, for you, was it like, did you have a background where your family did you come from a family of entrepreneurs or business owners? Did you have anything? What do you think was in you that, like, okay,
other than that academy?
Yeah, I mean, because anyone could go to the academy but still not end up with the business.
The only other example of a business owner that I had was one of my great uncles, which is my grandfather's brother. He owns a concrete business. So I was doing concrete for a year before I started the 7 years, 8 years at the forklift. And it was just backbreaking. It was hot, you know, and
labor,
shoveling.
man.
Yeah, it's hard labor. You can make some great money, but I also like the longevity in that. These guys, they break their backs, man. And so that was my only example of really, you know, entrepreneurship, somebody actually owning a business in my family. But my grandma had always wanted us to start a restaurant or a food business or anything like that. But we just, nobody pulled the trigger. Nobody was pulling any triggers or anything.
Yeah. It sounded good. Like, it was a good conversation.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that is true. Thank you. My grandma would decorate quinceañeras, tablecloths, flower arrangements, and things like that. And she's done that for a long time. She still has garages full of, you know, decorations.
Gotcha.
But she was definitely like my first example of a business owner, and she would pay me, and I was maybe one of the more experienced, like helping her, and I was there present with her, and really
you were paying attention to exactly what
and
watching interest, right?
And watching, I showed interest. Yeah.
So you can say that when you were young, around, like, watching your grandma, like, you kind of, it seemed like you were inspired, like, this is something maybe,
right,
you know, you saw it firsthand and you were hands-on with it. And
same thing with like being a consumer, also putting my shoes in the owner. I'm like, okay, it costed you this much to buy this many flowers, and this is how much they actually paid her for the whole event and everything, and like, you know, kind of breaking everything down. And I'm not really supposed to be breaking all that stuff down, but I did kind of have that.
Most kids aren't.
No, right.
Yeah.
So it was in you, not on you, like that. So let's fast forward a little bit. How did you come up with Anthony's Tacos? And was it something like a hobby, or you love making tacos and people were like, hey, these are bomb, you should make it a business? Like, how did that start?
I had the tacos down at Tioga Brewery from a local taco shop, Tacos Jacinto, and I don't know, I went home the next day and I was like thinking about them tacos the next day. I never had this style of taco, and it kind of got blown up around the 2019, and a lot of people were making queso tacos and stuff, and you see it all over the internet.
So what are they called?
Instagram, queso tacos.
And what does that mean?
It's like cheese and shredded beef and in a what is supposed to be crispy shell taco. You know, that is hard to perfect for a lot of people, and you know, getting the flavorings and getting everything right. But like once I had it, we started. I was big. I was coming out of my divorce, and I was having a lot of parties in my house, just bringing a lot of my friends together, meeting new people, because I hadn't been on the internet since 2012 to 2018. I had left the internet, and
really?
My friends had really seen me, and I just fell off the face of the earth to them, and I was just, you know, living my own life.
Sure.
The house that I bought and things, and I was living my life. But when I came back, and they were like, yo, what are you doing? And I just started connecting a lot of people and started networking stuff, not with a business in mind, but you know, just to enjoy each other's company. And so
you were cooking before, though. I just want to like just casually make
just casually try tips.
Really? Okay, so you love to cook
barbecue,
before. Gotcha.
Here and there. So it just went. I started making those tacos because I wanted some more.
Yeah.
And they were telling me already, like, this is really good, you know, and they're not, and we have new content too, where I'm asking, you know, my early friends, like, how have the tacos changed since, you know, being back at his old house, and like, and the responses are pretty funny, you know, like, they remember, oh, they were burnt, or they were not what they are right now, you know, like, they're just not it, because I was just trial and error, figuring it out. So it was a good time though. That's how it started. We just kept cooking every other week, and I'll have my friends kick in money and go feed the block, really. Like,
wow.
But not until I got a logo. I came up with an idea. Somebody took a picture of me, and I got a logo, and that's when I was like, I might try to sell these tacos, and
what was the
picture
picture
of me just eating the taco like this.
And that's the famous picture you guys will see on the truck.
Yeah.
You guys know Anthony's Tacos. That's the logo right there.
Yeah.
I was going to ask real quick because, was it one of those things? Because, with my wife and mom and all that, I always throw around like, oh man, this is so good. You should sell these. You should make this a business. Is that kind of how it started? Like your friends like, man, these are good tacos.
Yeah.
You should make it a business or you should sell it.
Yeah.
Or was it something like, you knew they were good, you were already kind of thinking like, I'm gonna start a business?
I didn't think of it. Definitely your friends support you. And not that I didn't feel successful even within the first year, but there's a point where it's no longer just your friends telling you like your food is good or like you're selling only to your friends. There was a point where I was serving more people that I've never come across before, and they just see me on the internet and stuff like that. That's when it's like, okay, like the more consistent I stay and keep it taking it step by step, we'll be all right,
Yeah.
And staying patient. So definitely, like, my friends were telling me it was great, but I always had an eye for like, branding and marketing something and make sure I have a package to present to you guys, I wasn't gonna sell tacos if I didn't have some kind of graphic to push and stuff. And that's really what my first logo was, like a big it's a graphic of just myself. And it's nice because it's where I'm from and it's Fresno based, and I was born and raised here, so it was always nice. But I think this whole business has just been in phases every year, and we're not rebranding, but we're taking it further to new logos and new colorways, to where it's like we're gonna keep progressing. We're not gonna just be the quick Instagram. I'm just here to make quick bucks and then go to Tulum and go to Mexico and stuff, and show off to the people that I'm making money.
You think that's the difference between businesses that last and businesses that plateau or eventually fall out?
Oh, most definitely.
That evolving mindset, that growth mindset,
and keep growing.
Right.
You're not gonna fool yourself. You're not gonna fool anybody how much you love something and how much effort you put into something. It's gonna show you how much we progress, how much thought I actually think about this all the time, how much effort I actually put into it all the time. Whether it's my own effort or if it's somebody else who has to, pay a graphic designer every other month for, to execute what they want, as the videos and things like that. People can tell how much you love something and how much effort you're putting into it. So you're not gonna fool anybody, and it'll tell with how long you're looking for longevity.
Right. I want to backtrack just a tad bit because I don't want people to miss this important part of it. So let me understand, were you working your job like a regular job and just cooking on the weekends for the fellas on the side, and then eventually you're like, you know what, like, is that kind of how it went? Kind of talk about the transition from just Anthony, the regular worker, to now Anthony's to making it a business.
Was there a phase of 2 jobs at one point?
Right. Like how did you lead up?
Okay.
For 6 months I was kind of just cooking for friends and trying new things. And then I got a logo and I sat on it for maybe a month. And I still, questioned myself whether or not to do it.
And meanwhile, your friends like, dude, you gotta sell this.
They're pushing you.
Like, that's kind of this is Bob, you gotta sell this.
And a Taco Tuesday happened to roll around.
Okay.
We're getting shut down. Like, it was weird. The pandemic was weird. Like, New York would do things, and then Texas would things, and then California would do things.
So how did you get your first, like, what was your first time you were like, oh, I got something? Like, you know what I mean? Like, from the friends, okay, they're telling you, but then where did it go from the friends telling you they're good to like, let's get the logo, let's try to sell this as a business? Like,
maybe a couple of days after they snapped the picture.
Okay.
It's pretty common on Instagram to see people, with their own avatar of themselves, So a couple of days after that picture I snapped, I was like, I really like this picture. I think I could, put the Fresno sign and this and that. And my friend Manny, that I went to school with, he's a graphic designer, and he's been knocking all of our graphics out since then. But
wow.
I gave him some ideas, a rough draft, and then he knocked out the park with the rays and the colors and just making it look like me, because it got a fade.
Yeah.
and my smile and everything, like he knocked it out.
Really
and I really pushed it. Like,
Yeah.
I pushed myself really hard the first year, free t-shirts. That sticker, I've given out maybe 7,000, 8,000.
So what year are we talking
free
now?
stickers.
2019, 2018?
2019.
So 2019, you're
No,
like, okay.
2020.
2020.
Yeah.
So 2020,
we
like,
opened
let's
up,
go. Let's get the Instagram.
Yeah.
Let's get the ball rolling.
Taco Tuesday was coming up, and
Taco Tuesday.
it happened to be Cinco de Mayo. So I was
So
like,
talk about the first of Taco Tuesday. Like, did you have how did you sell? Like, I mean, you knew about it, but you know,
Yeah.
don't you have to be invited like as a vendor? Or I mean, how does that work?
oh no, I sold that at my front yard. Yeah.
Wow.
We
On
hit,
Taco
we hit it with
Tuesday.
Russell, yeah, out the front yard.
at an event in Fresno?
No. I just set up a canopy of my flat grill.
No way.
There's videos on my Instagram where I'm in my work clothes in a DHL safety, bright orange safety.
Wow.
210 days safe at work or whatever.
Yeah. Bianca, get in there. Chime in.
Okay. I wasn't here and like I wasn't there for that day, but I remember like his mom saying like he tried selling all by himself. It was literally him taking the orders, making the tacos, then giving the other person the tacos, then taking the order, making the tacos. So the first day, he did it all by himself.
Where were the people coming from? Yeah, but where were the customers coming from? Were you just on the street, or I mean, you're in your backyard, your front yard? You said.
I was in the front yard. Yeah.
So where were you just getting the traffic from?
Like Instagram.
Oh, so you made an event out of it.
Oh, Instagram. I just let people know that I was gonna sell.
Oh,
and you know.
You gave them the address, like, hey.
I gave them the address and the time, and they showed up within the time slot. We didn't even do the pre-orders or anything like that. They kind of just like they came out by, you know,
to the house, like, hey, I'm coming to your house.
10s and 20s, you know, in the very first pop-up. And we sold it all. I probably made 20, 30 pounds at the time. And now we're up to 150 pounds a week. Like, yeah.
So talk about, I still want to talk about that very first time. Cause I mean, because that could be that's very inspirational to the average person out there who wants to, you know, start a business or whatever. They don't realize like they want to, you know, a lot of that stuff people don't see. They just see, you know, the wins. Like they look at you now like, oh, he's doing big things, but they don't see the, you know, putting the time in, you know, selling them in your front yard and your work, you know, outfit, uniform, and invite people to your house. The
thing about not only starting the company, but I was starting a brand at the same time. My friend John just posted a picture of something, somebody asking him, you know, any tips for starting my brand? I want to start a brand. And what do you think, you know, what do you think about maybe my logo or something? And his response was pretty perfect. It starts with you and how you treat people, how you've treated people over your life and how you interact with people. And that was one of the things when I did start this, people were like, one, they hadn't seen me in forever, but they were like, I remember you from middle school and you were so nice to me all the time, you know, like I had already been a nice person, already had mingled with, you know, different groups of people, you know how school is and there's cliquey and there's groups, but I would talk to anybody, you know, or you know, if I've crossed paths and that's part of your brand.
So you were popular in high school. Just say it. Just keep you're being modest. You're popular.
I didn't like it though, and I didn't like high school because it was set up that way. You know, just the way we socialize as kids. And,
sure.
You know, and we put other people down and stuff like that. If they don't fit into your circle, you know. But
then we find out later when we get old, like, oh, the ones that were getting picked on and teased, those are now the ones that are going to be employing you. You're going to be walking into the interviews and they're going to be interviewing you. You know what I mean? or they're going to own the company that you're trying to work for. So
most definitely.
That's how that usually works.
And that first day was like, I got up and went to work at 5:30 a.m., got off at 2:30, and I had 30 minutes to, you know, pack up all my things and put it in the canopy outside and get to selling tacos. And I probably sold in 2 hours or so. And we sold everything that we had, and there's videos of me shaking the bowl of like meat that I had nothing left and things like that. And it was great, but like definitely needed a team even with day one, just for the amount of turnout that we had on the very first day, and just from Instagram and the people that I connect with, and people had already been hearing about me cooking, you know, just because I would have parties and they're like, thanks for the invite. That was one of the things on my Instagram, my personal Instagram. It was always like, oh, thanks for the invite, because they would watch us. They would see us watching boxing, a lot of Floyd Mayweather fights, a lot of football, Super Bowl party.
Right.
It was just, I was just cooking.
Right.
And they're like, oh, thanks for the invite. Oh, thanks for the invite. But it was
just, well, now you're invited.
Right. I'm like, all right, we'll pull up. Because I would always pull up on my story or whatever, and certain people, you know, who were close to me at the time would come. and it was always beautiful. You know, a lot of new connections were made, a lot of new relationships. A lot of people don't speak to each other anymore, but you know, it was just a clash of just a lot of different people, and
That's dope.
And it was dope, man.
I love it.
It's fun, and everybody still comes by to support to this day, and they're like, we never would have thought you're taking it this far, and we can see how far you still want to take it, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
No,
awesome.
that hustle muscle is strong in you, obviously.
Mhm.
Can you speak to this for some, you know, entrepreneurs that may be listening that are hesitation, or maybe they're sitting on a logo, you know, the same way that you sat on it for a little while? What was going through your mind? Because a lot of people might get hung up on you know, something like this specifically. If they're cooking, no, I need a space, and I need a team, and I need a cash register. I need a square block to take people's cars. Like all of this stuff's going through their head. I don't know if that was going through your head, or what happened that just made you say, fuck it, I'm doing it. Front yard, let's do it. What did that pop through your head? Was that any part of your process?
Yeah. Aside from slightly like the logo, just knowing that I did want a logo, and it's just it's unfortunate that I didn't have to like you know, re-edit different logos or anything. I kind of like, I'm easily satisfied, you know. I feel like I love Russell. He's like, it's hard to be fulfilled when you need a lot. I don't need a lot to be, you know, fulfilled.
Right.
And like when he gave me the logo back, and I liked it, but for somebody who's starting up, you can't get hung up on that type of stuff. Because people love a story, because people love to see you grow,
that progression.
Right. And like, if you just want to start at the top, that's great, and you're gonna have to maintain it every single time. You know, you give that quality, you kind of maintain it, but people still love to see growth. And I would say don't get too hung up on it. You gotta stay humble and start exactly where you're at. Just be with yourself.
Just go with
that first step.
Take away the pride and all the you know. Yeah, you can't right. You know, take away that and just go at it. Just do the work, do what it takes, and I think a lot of it too is consistency, and people get frustrated because the grind is longer a lot of time usually than people you know, expect it to be or realize that how much work you got to put in. But so you got the logo, you did the first pop-up.
Yeah.
So what's in your mind now? Are you thinking like, okay, we got to do bigger and better? I need to hire. Like, talk about the first. You're hire? You got your
need
team.
To quit your other job, like
right? And did
that first one?
Exactly. Like, how did you transition from that job immediately, or how long?
Was great. From there on, I just did Saturdays. I would work my Monday through Friday, and then I would pop up on Saturdays. And from there, it was like, okay, they love the logo, because I had the graphic made. I don't think I had stickers yet, but I had made a banner. It was like Anthony's Tacos. It was like a 6x12, 6x9 banner, and people loved the logo and stuff. So sticker culture was big, and people like slapping stickers anywhere. So I ordered a bunch of stickers, and they're always free, and they're free to this day. And like, we've passed out thousands of them every time I order them. And that was the thing. Was like, now it's like, okay, I need my own shirt. I printed some shirts with some of my friends, and I started giving them out. Anybody who would pay for them could pay for them. But honestly, like, I've given away, you know, a lot of those original shirts, just the logo. So it's like, push that.
So was it all organic? Like like getting that popular, like just people just word of mouth, kind of like, were you doing any advertising as well, or
the word of mouth was crazy?
Just all,
the word of mouth. The product was good enough to. People were like, you got to get down here and taste these tacos, you know.
Come get you some. What was that? Go get you one of these.
Pull up.
Yeah, exactly.
The first year was all organic. I had never paid for Instagram
boosting ads or anything.
No, wow.
I didn't start that till this.
Because how many Instagram followers you got? Like, I know you know for sure. 30,000 Instagram followers. 30. So and you started 2020. This is going on. In 3 years, you have over 30,000 followers. Oh my gosh!
I hit 10,000, and we did a really big giveaway. I gave away like 100 tacos, and then the second year we hit 20,000 on the anniversary.
How do you think you grew so fast? Because that's crazy. Like, you know, the average person in business is, guys, this is not normal. This is rare. Average person is not going to get 20, 30,000 followers within a year or two of business. Just. So those are high but he did the let's hear about how that happened.
If I look, looking back in hindsight, I started before Instagram Reels.
Got it.
I was on it, we were posting and Instagram Reels wasn't a thing. TikTok was out, and TikTok was going crazy because it was a new thing, and there's so much organic reach, which is any random post could go viral. So naturally, the competitor has to come up with their own thing, and they started Reels, and those things can pop off, at any time too. And I'm the marketer, I'm the videographer, the editor. I do it all, and Reels definitely helped us grow in that second year from the 10 to 20 because I had a reel do 1 million. I had all my reels were doing above 50K, 120.
There's some great videos. You must be got it.
Yeah, and it's food. I mean, people drool over food in the middle of 10,
food
11 p.m.
Yeah. Right.
It looks great and it tastes great, and we had the word of mouth. So, Reels was just organically getting pushed a lot on Instagram, and it was a lot. And
you saw your growth just come from just the organic internet, just the reach.
Yeah,
Instagram, people are seeing it, so they're hitting you up like, "Hey, man,
But that second year, I did start purchasing, ads.
Right.
Well, yeah.
You still got to tell a story in those reels, and I would just pay attention to other food reels and what we're watching and why we like to watch it, and lighting and juiciness, and and the
let's get Bianca on
there. Yeah, you know what? We're gonna break her in right now because as your reels are gaining attention, your audience is growing. I'm sure the amount of food that you're purchasing is growing.
Mm-hmm.
Your overall team is growing.
Yeah.
Bianca being one of them.
Yes.
How do you handle those growing pains? Maybe there's something both you guys can speak to. I don't know if you guys are both behind the scenes figuring this stuff out, but there's got to be growing pains when you're going from 10 to 20 to 30,000 online followers, let alone the people who don't have Instagram and are stopping by buying these tacos. How do you handle those growing pains?
There are times you take a break.
Yeah, you gotta step back. Huh? You gotta be like,
you step back and like, you know what? I'm not gonna open this week. I kind of like I'm running myself thin.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain points where I would take a few, especially because it's me prepping, cooking on the truck, cleaning up after the truck, or the pop up before then, and it was a lot of wear and tear on myself. My it's all my family on the line. There's 5-6 of us, and we all have roles. And then we brought Bianca on, and she became my full-time cashier on top of being the internet personality and entertainment for the community that we built once we hit 25,000. I met her, and she was great. She had high energy, and we just wanted to entertain, the Instagram, along with trying to grow the TikTok. I joked around with her on Twitter, I'm gonna get you paid. I'm gonna get you paid for being an personality one day, and these are gonna be funny and they're gonna be great. But she knocks it out the park every time, just being herself. And I try to do whatever I can, post editing magic and inserting funny clips, funny sounds, zoom ins, things like that, and it all brings it all together.
It all work together.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Talk about, and we definitely need to hear Bianca because she is amazing on Instagram, but really fast. I want to hear, what are the tougher times? Like, I just know in business in general, there's times where, maybe do you ever doubt yourself? Do you get stressed out? Like, what are the harder or the challenges that you're having, that the biggest challenges right now in business? And
social media is a highlight reel, so
right?
There's got to be some,
of course, behind the scenes. There's always the hard part, the people, what people don't see, the challenges.
Maybe Bianca could tell me some of my challenges, but okay,
well, hey, let's
she's like, boy, no, but some of my challenges are like
self-doubt sometimes, or feel
I
like
haven't had much self-doubt.
Okay.
I've been really humble and grateful for everything. There was one pop-up that we made $200 only. Like I sold to cover my groceries, and then the profit on top of that, we made $200. And it was a really bad It was a really bad weekend. It was something that we had never done in a location we had never done. I don't think anybody was ready for it, and we weren't really welcomed in the community that we did it at. So that was a learning experience for me.
What was going through your mind? Because this is the only reason I'm asking this, because I mean, business is hard, and we all entrepreneurs, they get in business, but then something doesn't go right. Some people might take it as, okay, well, like even Russell said, don't turn speed bumps into roadblocks, right?
Yeah.
Some people might get to that point, just like, oh man, this is tough. It's not working out. It didn't go as planned. Maybe this isn't for me.
Yep.
And some people, right. And some people talk themselves out of going forward, and they feel like it's a failure. And the sad part is a lot of times they discourage other people from going down that road because they weren't successful.
Right.
And it's not that they weren't successful. They just stopped. They didn't keep going because there's always it gets tough. So that's the thing with business is like, it's going to get tough. You just got to keep going through the fire, through the storm, and it always gets better, but people don't see it in that moment. Right. So what was it? What was in your mind when that didn't go well? Was it, okay, maybe this isn't for me? Or was it like, hey, I just got to keep going?
Wasn't deterred at all at that time. We had already been a while in. It was a bad week. It was a bad weekend. It was a bad day for us. And but I still was grateful for all of it because I ended up shooting content that day that is like one of my favorite reels. It highlights, my family and the scenery that we were at. And it's just it's fun to just go back and watch that video because it was like more of a highlight and a recap of the night that we had. And I'm hugging my mom in the video, my aunt, and I have a friend who's working for me that day. And it's just, in hindsight, it was still great. It didn't deter me from, keep going. I still just look at the next step right in front of me. I definitely have a vision and a goal in mind in the end game, but I'm not in a rush to get there to where I'm looking for investors and and looking for big loans to put myself under or anything,
Yeah.
I enjoy the story and I enjoy the growth, showing people, how to do it and how to keep going.
That's amazing. Cause
you got to fall in love with that process.
Yeah. And for you to be young as you are and to have that mindset is just amazing because, like I said, it's something, I don't know what it is, but the average person in business don't have, it's not that easy. They don't have that, oh, well, it didn't go well, but stay positive. And you that it's going to happen. It's like deep down, I think it feels like regardless of what challenges, you're going to get there.
Yeah, you have to stay that way. You have to stay humble. And the second you let up on it, there's always going to be the new kid on the block who's more humble than you and who's more driven than you and has more passion. If you let up, and they're going to surpass you, And I was that story for somebody else. You start, not paying attention to the quality of, your product, and you slack here and there, or you get too cocky, or you don't live within your means, and you run yourself out of business to where your overhead is more than you're making and things like that. Like, man, you just got to stay humble and remember where you came from and keep going, one step at a time.
100%. That's gold. That's gold. That's hot right there. That's a heat. That's heat right there. Yeah. Go ahead. Oh no, I was gonna try to get Bianca's little take in this and to kind of talk about what her important part. We'll get back definitely to Anthony. I just want to ask her really quick. So your main role, I know I see you on Instagram. You're doing a lot of reels. You're a lot of the face and all that. So is this something you had a history of doing, or is it something new to you, or you always been just an outgoing person in spirit and bubbly, or I talk about that part of it?
So we were best friends at first, and back on how did you were talking about his following and how he gained such a big following, not just because I'm his girlfriend or because I'm now a part of the truck or anything. I first heard about him from my friend Gio, and she would always talk about these tacos around Fresno. And then she was having a birthday party, a small little birthday gathering, closest friends. And then she had the tacos. She loved them. And then our mutual friend Crash was at the pool party, and he was like, hey, I'm about to leave. It was midday. It was a midday pool party, and it was maybe 10 people, close friends. he was like, I gotta go because Anthony's selling tacos right now, and I gotta go get me a burrito. Like, and he like literally left the birthday party just to go get his burrito, which to this day he has to get a burrito all the time. But he was like, I gotta go. Like, I might be back later. Like, I just gotta go get food real quick. And we're like, okay, like, and Gio already knew, and she was like, man, I'm mad you're going to get food. Like, bring me some back, you know?
Yeah.
And so I was like, dang, is his food that good? And she's like, yes, because I had already heard her talking about it. So for the longest time, I hadn't tried the tacos, especially because I was like on my workout grind or whatever. And I was like, oh, I can't really like cheat on my, workout plan. But even then, like, because of how many people were talking about the tacos, I was like, yo, this guy has the best tacos in Fresno. And I was literally supporting him without even trying the tacos because of how many people. And then I was on his Instagram and how he was talking about like the bowl, and he was like, it's empty, like I sold out. I was like stalking. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool, like he sold out. And like that's how he grew his following, because his tacos are so good.
Yeah.
Wow,
like
that's amazing.
Like, I don't even, reels are important and all that stuff, but his food is good. Like, he perfected the food. It's like, I'm giving him his flowers because he doesn't give himself enough credit, but that's what I gotta say. Like, his food is good, and every single food item is his own ingredient. Like, it's not from his family, it's not from like past generations or whatever. Like, he makes the food. Yeah.
Just experimenting, I guess, in the kitchen, just coming up with a good recipe.
Just like, I had to say that's how he grew his following. Like, a big part of how he grew his following is because the food is good.
Wow. It's good that you mentioned that, though, because it's very easy on social media to see just highlights, or to see you don't know if these followers are paid. You don't know what the product is really like.
Right.
It doesn't even have to be food. It could be clothing. You see clothing lines on Instagram. You order something and it rips the first time you wear it.
Yeah.
Why do they have 50,000 followers and can't even stay put together?
Exactly.
So it's good to hear that the following is organic, which is something that Anthony alluded to, because that is ultimately what longevity. I mean, you're going to be around for a while if your product is actually good. And then on top of that, you got a great attitude. You're building your team out correctly because she's bubbly and she's all over online. So this is I love it. I love it, man.
Hopefully this is inspirational to everybody out there. It really is.
Sure will be.
It is for sure.
I don't see you guys going anywhere. I gotta try these tacos.
So that's
I was hoping to get some today too. I was like, man, I want to take, but hey.
No, we got to do a first time bite interview.
Really? No, we're gonna do really. No, you're dead serious. We're gonna do that. We'll do it on camera.
But what's so funny is that I kind of, like, my first time trying the tacos, I did a first time bite interview with my best friend Angela, because we became Instagram friends, and then but we were friends for like 5 months on Instagram, and then finally, like, we hung out, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna try some tacos. So I got some tacos, took it to my best friend, and we were eating outside in her backyard, and she was like, this is so good. And I was like, no, this is so good. And she was like, a few more bites, it's quiet. She's like, this is so good. And I was like, it's so good. And like, literally for 10 minutes, all we were saying was, this is so good. Like, we were saying so good, so good, so good. So like, the joke between us three is like, so good, so good. And so that was like that. And then as we became best friends, we were friends for like a very long time, and I would like mess around with him. Yes, I'm very outgoing, and I always tell him, like, he's the guy version of me, I'm the girl version of him. Like, we are like very similar but very different in a lot of ways, like but both entrepreneurs, like stuff like that, and always motivating and like hyping each other up constantly. But I would always mess around with him because I was mascot for like multiple things when I was younger. I was like my high school mascot, my mom's work mascot, and I like literally wore like a big old panther head or whatever. So I was like, how funny would it be if like you got a taco costume and I'd be your mascot? Like, I was just throwing out like random ideas at him, and he would just laugh at me like, oh my god, like, you're funny, but like also looking up taco costumes. Like, but
yeah,
like, no, dude, I think really funny. Like how, like, because I don't know if you guys know this, but you'll also see on like his highlight reels. I was obsessed with his highlight reels because I would see all the we sold out. And I was like, I hope he never stops that. Like, he still shows the pan, like, that we sold out, because he sells out every time. And like, let me tell you, his lines, he sells out within 3 hours, and his lines are crazy, but like, he's so fast also that like you order and you get your food within minutes, right? And so he has these big lines, he sells out, and I was like, I'll entertain your line. You know, I was like, I'll just, because we're already laughing 24/7. So I was like, I'll entertain your line. And he's like, yeah, funny. So again, he's like looking up costumes, whatever. And then just always messing around with like other ideas that we had like in mind. And then one day he was just like, hey, B, I have something for you. And I was like, yeah, what's up? And he was like, how do you want to like do interviews for me at Art Hop, like this Thursday, which was like 3 days prior to when he told me, right? And I was like, yeah, I'm down. And he was like, okay. He was like, you're perfect for it. Like, this is what I want you to do. And he was like, just like do first time buy interviews. And I was like, okay, cool. I was like, send me some like information, like what you want me to say, like whatever. He's like, cool. And then the next day, and I was like, all right, so are we doing this? He's like, yeah. The first time buy interviews. And I was like, okay, just like make sure to like let me know what you want. He's like, yeah, my brother's gonna record you. Okay. And then it's the day before, and I was like, all right, so like, what do you want? Like, what are we doing? Can I like, what do you want me to wear? He's like, just wear the t-shirt. And I was like, I'm not gonna wear the t-shirt. And I cut it in like a little crop top. I made my own. I was like, I'm not gonna be wearing a t-shirt, guys. Like, none of Bianca doesn't wear t-shirts. And so I made a little crop top, like a tube top. And I was like, can I wear this? And he's like, yeah, sure. And I was like, okay, cool. So like, just let me know what you want me to say. It's Art Hop, you guys. And I show up and I'm like, what do I do? And he's like, yeah, just go out there with my brother, like do first time buy interviews. And I'm like, Kenneth, hi. We meet each other for the first time. It's like me meeting his brother for the first time. We're both Aries. We didn't know that at the time. And we're like, I say, hey, what's up? And he like says some like rude comment, but like to be funny. And I was like, I don't know how I can joke with you because I can take rude comments, but I'll like be rude back, like I'm just as sarcastic, but I gotta like fill you out first. I don't want to hurt someone's feelings, So then I was like, well, I know I can joke with Anthony. So then I joked with him back, and then he joked with me back, and I was like, so we were kind of going back. And then he goes, man, you guys are both born like, you guys are both Aries. You guys both have like fire in you. And we're like, you were born in March. And he's like, you were born in March. And I'm like, I'm 23rd. I'm 24th. And he's like, I'm 26th. And I was like, oh my gosh, we're Aries. And then we became like, we like went from hating each other to like loving each other. And now it's all love. And he's my cameraman. But it literally, like, I had no script. He gave me the job and I was just like, I'm down. And then I was like, I'm going to be your full-time registrar. I took over Kenneth's job, which is the one that records me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got to be your full-time registrar. And then,
yeah, that's it. That's how it started. That's how it started.
Yeah.
Man, that's great. I mean,
that's my story.
That's good.
So I just want to hear how the business is set up. Like you got, of course, you got other cooks, or is it just you cooking? You got how many? Or
you said family? You got family?
Yeah. Who's all involved? Like cooking? Who's doing what? What are the roles?
Still cook. My mom will like serve the consomés, which is like the broth that the meat is cooked in.
Okay.
So we serve everybody. With any order you get, a quesadilla, burrito, or a tacos, you'll get the consommé. It's complimentary, and you dip whatever food item you got, and you dip it in there. It has so much flavor. So she'll be like pre-making a bunch of those in styrofoam cups, and my aunt is like serving the onion, cilantro, lime, salsa, put it all on the side, and that's kind of their roles, and I'm flipping all the tacos.
Man.
And then the register. And early on, I just when we started, it was just birria tacos, queso tacos, and they were flying off the grill, right? And I started making rice and beans, and those were flying like combo plates. And then I started offering a flour tortilla. So once I introduced that, it introduced burritos and I introduced quesadillas.
Let me tell you this. I've been saying this for years until I met you, but we're gonna see. For years, I've been swearing Adrians I love Adrians burritos. The little hole in the wall. Yeah. Been in Fresno for a million years, and it's a landmark pretty much. Belmont? Love Adrians. Yeah. You competing with Adrians, man? You giving them some pressure?
Most definitely. Even with the handmade tortillas. The godmother of my son she's a huge Adrians fan since we were in high school.
Yes.
And that's her favorite burrito.
It is.
It no longer is.
No longer is.
Okay. I got it.
You gotta go.
All right.
Pop up.
We're there. Tomorrow. So hey, well, today is
Friday.
May 11th, 12th. So May 13th is tomorrow. Saturday, guys. Talk about your pop-up just before we get into
we got a pop-up. I can't recite the address right now, but we're behind Blackbeard's. Behind Blackbeard's, there's going to be a pop-up with another vendor. Should be some other food vendors and some other boutiques and stuff like that are selling their items.
So pop up tomorrow. Where are you guys going to be at?
12 to 4.
12 to 4.
Chestnut and Ashland.
Chestnut and Ashland. Anthony's Tacos.
Check the Instagram. You want the direct address? I'll post it on there.
There it is.
No,
okay,
that's good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. I gotta get.
See you there.
Right. Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
be there for sure.
We'll be there 12
I'm
to
gonna
4,
definitely 12 to 4.
Mhm.
I have a open house until 2, but I'm definitely gonna try to squeeze.
Nice.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I got open. Go. I'll let you. I got. There's a million
Okay,
questions, man.
so-
It's so much.
So we've talked about, how it started, talked about where you're at. You're still selling out all your food every pop-up. You're growing your team. You're building not only physically, but on social media. You're 30,000 followers. You're moving right along. Where does this end, man? Where does it end?
What's the next
goal?
Yeah, what's the next step for you?
Next step, 10th step.
So you got the taco truck now.
Talk to us about
And it's typically where
It's typically on Blackstone and Shaw.
Blackstone and
at the
Shaw
Lifestyle Furniture.
lifestyle.
You can find us Wednesdays, Saturdays. You can find us on our hops, which is the first Thursday of every month, downtown. A lot of different locations downtown as for the R hop. But you would follow the Instagram and just check our posts, check our stories.
At Anthony's Tacos.
Anthony's.tacos.
Anthony's.tacos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you would find where we're at. And yeah. You'll find it
May 25th. What's going on May 25th?
May 25th, we're going to be at the Grizzly Stadium for Tioga Thursday.
Whoa.
Yeah, we're gonna cook at the baseball game. Mm-hmm.
Really? I just thought of something. You ever got into those taco competitions? The truck competitions. Don't they have something like that? You ever compete?
The truck throwdown was last year in October. It's every year in October now. We did not have a truck in time for that, so we didn't get to compete last year, but we should be able to.
You guys are ready to take the number one spot this time. You guys ready to take the trophy? Yeah. Oh, wait, who's the competition? Who won last year?
I know Tacos La Vaporera won People's Choice, and the judge's choice was Tacos Pinto.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they got some run for that. They got to run for their money. He's coming for you guys.
Yeah. I believe that's the second year it happened just like that. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Back to back. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're taking 23.
I ate a lot of tacos.
Hey, you have to. That's your product. Yeah, that's your product. You gotta.
Well, that's awesome. Oh man. So if you guys didn't hear that, she said he supports all taco places, not just his. So that's awesome. He supports everyone else, and show the love.
That was one of our segments for Bianca. I say, hey, go out there and ask people where their favorite tacos are at. And it was just a way for me to highlight other taco places, tag them all in the reel. Where do you get your favorite taco? El Primo Mayor, Tacos La Vaporera, Jacinto. Like people were just naming, and it was a fun reel. And we'd go even further to like, what type of taco is it that you like to get there? And somebody said Bollywood Indian street butter chicken tacos, and we were like, okay, like that's totally different.
Yeah.
It put us onto it and puts other Instagram users onto it, and I just to show love to other taco spots, and everybody's a vendor neighbor at some point, being a vendor at these public events. And I just let them know, hey, I'm here humbly, and we all got people to feed, so people eat every day.
Yeah.
And it's all love at the end of the day.
What would you say the biggest contributor to getting business, like generating clientele? Is it strictly mostly Instagram? Is it word of mouth? Are you any other? I know you pretty much said you started
word of mouth through any internet platform. There's this thing called platform and culture. You want to learn every platform. You learn Instagram, you learn TikTok, and they all have a different culture. They all have a different form of media that you would post on. Obviously a podcast and YouTube is like long form, but this podcast can be chopped up and put vertically and put into a short form for TikTok and short form for Instagram Reels. So that's platform and culture. You want to be successful and continue to grow, you have to kind of learn how to organically reach people and be intriguing to that demographic, especially too. There's different people on different platforms. So I say platform and culture. You want to like really study and learn how to maneuver between each one. because even YouTube's coming with their own YouTube Shorts that's blowing up too.
Got it.
So you can post the whole long form on YouTube and chop it up to the interesting parts and put it on YouTube Shorts, and those things are just like TikTok. Any second with the right title, you can pop off and have 1 million views on your YouTube Short.
Right. That's it could be game changing and life changing just from that, just getting that exposure.
Exposure is everything.
Yeah. Oh man.
Fantastic.
We could talk about how we met too, man, if you want to get into that. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting. We're talking about an artist. Well, maybe we should start here. Who are your top 3 hip hop artists? We ask everybody on here in this podcast.
Dead or alive.
Dead or alive, who would be in your top 3?
Top 3. I'm gonna put my personal favorite 3 would be Drake, just with the amount of
we've had Drake at number 1 on here before.
The amount of I won't go 1, 2, or 3, but Drake is
definitely
man
body of work.
The body and artistically is my favorite is Kanye with the album rollout, with the graphics, with the album. I won't skip a song. The album is full. It's not these little 7-10 songs. He
genius.
That man, and every different album was a different sound and things like that. But he's one of my favorite artists as a whole. Definitely. He doesn't have to have the best lyrics, but his rollouts and
he got bars too though. Like Kanye did, he will put some stuff in it. Yeah. Okay.
And then my personal favorite right now is La Russell. Like everything he's speaking is to an entrepreneur, to a black man. I'm half Mexican, half black, and there's just the first song I heard of him was like "Do That Little Dance." And
it's heavy
and Hidden Animosity, and those. If you go and listen to those songs, those are really strong songs. And he's talking, and the way he performs them is just different because he'll come out there with just a piano, and you gotta listen to what he's talking about.
Yeah,
and it can get uncomfortable if you're not the right type of person,
Right. Yeah.
But that man
definitely different,
and he'll echo what I'm talking about, which is content is king. Post exposure is everything. I make every play with my merch on. Like dude, wear yourself, believe in yourself, and that exposure is everywhere.
That's it.
Take the podcast, post the content. Everything's about content and trying to push yourself.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And that's what brought me into how we first met. We actually met in La Russell's backyard back in April. Kind of interesting, this gentleman and his girlfriend, they were in the front before the show started, kind of by the stage and everything. And I told my wife, I was like, hey, we want to kind of be in the front because, once the video plays back, maybe we'll get some camera time. Why not? Right. So before it starts, we met them, and he had his Fresno shirt on, and we're all the way in Vallejo, California. So like, oh man, we ran into some people from hometown. And so we just started talking. And then Miss Bianca here, who is the spokesperson, she was telling me all about his, what he does, the tacos, his Instagram. And that's what really, my first impression or my first time knowing about you, I was like, man, this guy is really doing big things, So fast forward. So that's why I was like, man, we got to get him on a podcast. I was telling Mark, like, this young entrepreneur right here is doing great things. They're doing, together, they're doing great things. So it was just great to have. So here we are, man.
Just meeting and shaking hands.
Meeting people from Fresno out of town, which is cool. It's always a good thing, So, but we had a great time.
I'm not even sure if you mentioned you had a podcast out there. If you just introduce yourself, but
I think
when we got back, you were like, "Hey, we met at got a podcast."
Yeah, we were connected. Well, with you, with Bianca, we were just connecting on Instagram. I was like, "Okay, I'll follow you guys, and you follow me."
I went to the bathroom.
Yeah,
I left.
From what I do remember that day.
Oh, right.
Remember a similar conversation, but I do remember like getting your phone, and I'm like, Anthony's dog.
Yeah.
Okay, you're following him now.
Yeah.
Like maybe 4 people.
Yeah, I'm old school. I was like, yeah, well, just find them here and just follow me, and then I'll follow. Then hopefully he'll follow me back. But that was it. That was the start, and it is a beautiful thing. You just never know who you meet. It's just great meeting people in general because the person, that's why I believe in really just being open and just being that humble spirit, a humble person, always willing, keeping a mind open, because you never know who you're going to run into anytime, anywhere, right? That person you might meet that you might have been closed off to, that person probably could have been the person that could change their life or introduce you to something that you weren't aware of. Now you're going down another path what could really do great things for you. So it's always good to keep a mind open and just learn people, understand people, and because you learn something from everybody, man. Anybody we meet, every person we meet, you can learn something from, good or bad. Right?
If you drop your ego,
there you go. Let the ego and pride go. Just a basic conversation. I mean, there's always something if you're paying attention and really listening. So that's the key too. Not just hearing people, but listening to them. So, yeah, man. It's a fire one, man.
Great show, man.
Yeah. Anything else you got, man? You wanna?
No, man. It's been good. I just need to try some tacos.
I need some tacos, right?
Needs to happen now. So that pop up again. You want to let everybody know when that was and where
your next few events.
Next couple ones we got tomorrow.
Tomorrow is a pop up, and then we'll be back. Wednesday, I think I have a special event coming up.
But you're usually
some slight. We'll be at Tioga
when?
Tioga Brewery, May 21st. It's a Sunday.
May 21st. It's
gonna be a lowrider car show.
Oh wow.
Coloring event, music, DJs, and then food by us.
Whoa. Because you had mentioned initially you did an event with the Troy Center last year, and then that's where you first heard of Russell. But how did you get involved with the Troy Center anyway? I always wanted to ask that. How do you know Nick?
No. I met Nick last year, and DJ DeSoto invited me out. He has an embroidery company, Central Valley Stitch, and he prints a lot of our work shirts, screen printing, DTG. And I'm in the shop a lot, just like talking to the guys and printing our stuff, going over ideas.
Yeah.
And
shout out DeSoto, great dude. Yeah. He's doing our shirts right now too.
Yeah. He did this stuff for the Troy Center.
Oh, okay.
He's involved too.
Mm-hmm.
And just a lot of connections. And we kicked it off and we were really nice. We get along and stuff. So he invited me out to the kickball event with him and all his employees. And I played and we did well. And then this year I wanted to start my own team, and I got everybody who's like involved with the Anthony's Tacos and some friends, and I was like, let's join this and let's get in the kickball event. So it was nice to see Nick again, and I was going out there hoping to see LaRussell again.
Yeah.
So I texted him. I was like, yo, let's get him back next year. Yeah. And he's like, I'm gonna try to get
him. He's been trying to get him back. He's definitely been trying. So I know he will be back. He'll definitely.
Yeah, that's how I crossed paths with Nick, and they just got a nice. They got a beautiful organization going on.
Oh yeah, they're doing great things.
Yeah,
great things for sure. Yeah. And it just never fails. Somehow, some way, every Saturday when he has those events, there's some reason. I mean, gratefully, I have appointments going on, but I like to get to them. But it's usually always right when I'm at my appointment, and I'm always running late and miss it. But I'm gonna get there, Nick. I'll be out there for sure. One Saturday, we'll be out there. Yeah. Awesome, man. Anything else you wanna? Where do you guys want to tell people how to find you all? Instagram, Facebook, so
Instagram, Facebook,
MySpace. No, I'm just kidding.
Just all of it's Anthony's Tacos, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook. They're all Anthony's Tacos.
Anthony's Tacos.
Yeah, man.
And on there's all the dates and times for your pop-ups.
Dates and times, yeah.
Perfect.
Man.
So if you want to try this stuff, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok.
Yeah. They're saying it's the best tacos in town, guys.
Fresno, Clovis. Get interviewed by Bianca. Yeah. And get out there and try these tacos.
Yeah.
Just to let you guys know, for the days that he posts before or day of, he'll let you guys know. But if he writes, you already know what to do. That means if you repost it onto your story, you're most likely able to. He picks 3 people to win free tacos. So
hey, I'm about to be on there too. Sure.
If you repost reels to your story, you have a chance to win free tacos.
Okay. Good incentive
Fantastic.
right there.
Yeah,
for
that's great.
sure.
That's
We
great.
have a lot. We have a lot of giveaways. That's something to do for if you have a product. I mean, you're starting a business. Like, um, there's a book I haven't read, but I know the concept of it from Gary Vaynerchuk, and he calls it left, jab, jab, left hook. And you want to, it's like give before you start asking for things.
Mm-hmm.
So I was giving away a lot. I was giving away a lot of things. T-shirts, like I said, for one, it had my logo on it. The stickers, they're still free. Like, I give away a lot of stuff, give away a lot of food. And then I never really asked people to, share my things or things like that. But the product was great enough for them to want to share it.
Yeah.
And the product, the photo was good enough, the quality of the content is good enough to where like they're gonna share it,
Right.
If it's quality, it's pixelated, if it's crooked, if it's if it's whatever and it's not appealing to the eye and appealing to their story, like they're gonna repost it. Most people, really will. But you definitely want to give more than you ask.
Oh, great lesson. Great piece of advice. And you were talking earlier about a book, and there was like 4 important things, was it? What was it? The four agreements. The 4 agreements. Let's get into that real quick before we let's end on that note if you want to get into it.
Hey, it's Bianca B.
Go ahead, plug yourself. Go ahead.
No, yeah, the 4 agreements. It's
the
one of
4
my
agreements.
favorite books. Let's see, I pulled them up earlier.
This is life information.
It's one of my favorite books, and agreement number 1 is be impeccable with your word. So as I was saying earlier, it's like anything that comes out of your mouth, is going to be impeccable. It's going to be kind. It's going to be nice if you're constantly aware of what you're going to say before you actually say things. Going back to like, if you don't have anything nice to say, then don't say it.
So and also I just thought of something. What gets people in trouble is emotions, right? Emotions get us in so much trouble because a lot of people respond just on the way they feel and they just say whatever. So basically, this is like control your emotions and then speak, basically, kind of in a sense. Because
exactly what you're saying leads to agreement number 2, which is don't take anything personally. So that's going back onto your emotions. It's like if someone's having a bad day and they cut you off on the road, or if you get to work and you say hi to someone and they're give you some attitude or like a stank face or whatever, you can't take it personally, because you don't know if that person that cut you off on the road is crying and because they just lost their dad, or if they just found out they had cancer, or they got fired from their job and they cut you off. Yeah, I mean, it's dangerous driving, but you can't take it personally. If someone didn't tell you hi, you can't take it personally, because you don't know what the other person's going through, and whatever actions someone else is portraying on you, it's not about you, it's about them, and not the world. I mean, the world doesn't revolve around us, like, it doesn't revolve, like, not you specifically, but like the world doesn't revolve around you, and so that's why it's like, don't take anything personally, because we're all created evenly. It's like, and I was saying earlier, the homeless man or woman on the street is no better than me, or I'm no better than them. I was telling Anthony the other day how when we were walking downtown and a man was rolling a cart, like a shopping cart with his stuff in it, personal belongings. And while we were walking, it was a small sidewalk. We both could have definitely fit, but he stopped and he like let us pass. And I really felt like a type of way. I was like, thank you so much, but you didn't need to do that. I was like, thank you. And I thanked him. He was a homeless man. And I told Anthony, that makes me so sad and that makes me mad. And he was like listening to me, he stood quiet, but he was listening to me. And I was like, he did not have to do that. He does not deserve to, like, he didn't have to feel like he had to stop to let us walk. That's so nice and so kind of him, but I'm no better than him. We're no better than him. He is God's child just as well. So like that, like things like that, where it's like, even if he didn't stop, I'm not going to take that personally, because he has every right just to walk on that sidewalk just as me. Like, that is not my sidewalk. That is not his sidewalk. That is not anybody's sidewalk. So agreement 2 is don't take anything personally. Agreement 3 is don't make any assumptions. So again, if someone has a stank face, you can be like, oh, she's the B word, or he's the B, like, he's a jerk or whatever. And it's like, maybe he's had a really bad life, like a really bad, recent breakup and that's why he's a jerk to you, or like, you know, and it's like, well, you could just like remove yourself out of that. You don't have to keep dating him, or, you know, and it's like, you can't always judge people. Like, don't, you know, you can't, I know it's like sometimes hard to judge in this life, but you can't make any assumptions, or like if someone having a conversation with someone, you could assume that maybe you take something to heart. I guess that goes into like, don't take anything personally too, but any assumptions where it's like, oh, I think he's mad, or sometimes we have really good communication in our relationship, which I'm kind of like portraying onto him because I'm really good at communicating. Obviously I don't stop talking, but
it's a man thing. We say
it's a man thing. I wouldn't say it's a man thing. I feel
we're
like
not
there's
big
a lot
talkers.
of guys that do talk. It's just I think how you grow up, because there's a lot of girls that don't talk either. I think it's just, my dad is a very big talker, so I wouldn't gender specific like that. And I think, again, like, don't make assumptions. It's like, you can't assume that it's guys that don't talk. You can't assume that because my dad's a big talker.
I already broke number 3, right? Like,
yeah.
Shoot, I gotta get better.
So that's where I learned how to communicate from, is from my dad. My mom's not a big talker. She grew up where she was kind of like the mom in the house. Her parents, which are my grandparents, they worked in the fields and they were working all day, and my mom is the oldest, and her first sister right below her was cooking, and then my mom did all the paperwork for the parents. So basically, like, my mom read the mail, paid the bills, did all that, took care of the kids, drove them here, drove them there, and then my tia Connie was like cooking all the food. So technically, like, the mom of the house, and then my mom was the dad of the house, you know, kind of taking care of business, getting the job, whatever. But yeah, that's, so my mom was didn't really know like emotion, like big showing a lot of emotion, because it was strictly like business. And my dad kind of brought that onto my mom and her family as well. Like, we say I love you, we always show emotion, we communicate. My dad was like, you know, I want to give you a hug every time I get home from work, you know, I want to show love to each other. And so my mom slowly, like, now that I'm older, I'm like, man, the way she treats the grandkids, I'm like, man, you're so fun. Now, like, I like, you know, me and my mom is my best friend, I swear. But yeah, so like, again, that's where I learned how to communicate is through my dad. But back to the don't make assumptions, it's like, he's a very quiet person. And how you asked him earlier, what are your like downfalls in the business, or like what happened, like, or what does he do? And he'll take breaks, because again, like, this podcast is like about you, so I'm going to refer it back to you. But he does take breaks, like, where I'm like, we're so busy and we're falling behind on laundry, and we're falling behind on like keeping the house up and all this stuff, and then the kids got this going on, and then, you know, all this stuff, and I'm like, oh, can we, like, you know, take the kids for a bike ride? And he's like, I got to prep this day. And I'm like, yeah, but the kids still need to go on a bike ride, you know? Right. And he's like, all right, you know what? I'm not going to work this week. And I'm like, no, we could still do it. We could still take the kids on a bike ride and then still work. And then he's like, B, we can't, like, we're going to burn ourselves out. And a lot of people ask him, like, why don't you open more than 3 days or more than 2 days? And he's like, because I want to focus on my family first, you know? And he's like, and I don't want to start hating what I do. Because sometimes we'll have events where we work 3 days a week. Yeah. And we'll have events where, and I think what people don't understand is working 1 day is a 2-day event. So he does work 4 days a week, but he's open 2 days a week, you know? So if we opened 3 days, then he'd be working 6 days a week, right. You know? Yeah. So I think that's what people don't understand. And I think, like, right now, where it's like, I'm like, let's get another truck. Like, I know you want a business, but like, let's get another truck or whatever. And he's like, I think right now he always, like, he's been mentioning to me, and I do, like, like in the beginning of a relationship, he would stay quiet on a lot of things, where I would say, let's open another truck. And then he'll talk like, yeah, B wants me to do all these things, but we're not ready. And I'm like, but you don't tell me that. So, like, communicate with me. Right. So again, it's communication. Yeah. And he came up from growing up, you know, I know a lot about his childhood or whatever. And he would stay quiet, but he's a doer, right? And I'm like, I'm a doer, but I'm gonna talk about it. Like, you know, I'm a healer. So yeah, like, I'm like, talk to me about why you're not ready, because I'm gonna be your biggest supporter. I'm like I tell him, like, you know how people say, like, people won't love your business as much as you do. And I tell him, man, I love your business just as much as you do. don't do the graphic design. Like I can't do that, like video editing and stuff.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, I'm constantly like, Anthony's Tacos lives rent free in my mind. Like
Right.
1000%.
That's awesome.
And I support his business and I support him so much because I believe in it.
Sure.
But yeah, so yeah, there's communication where like assumptions, sorry, back to the assumptions. I'll assume like, is he mad that I brought this up, or is he mad that I brought this conversation? And I'm like, hey, do you get mad that I like bring up Anthony's Tacos ideas? Because like I'm an entrepreneur too, so I think of things for myself, and then I'm like, oh, I could also do this for Anthony's Tacos. Or like, hey, what about this segment? Or hey, what about? And sometimes he'll stay quiet and he'll be like, no, or like, yeah, and I'm like, okay, but for this relationship to work, or if you want me to continue to give you ideas, tell me why. Just as like every kid, and I like now his 2 kids, they're my babies too. Like I consider them my own. And it's like, we don't just tell kids no, we tell them why we're saying no.
Gotcha.
So that they don't assume that we're just being mean to them.
Right. I believe in that too.
I want to teach them to not make assumptions. Because that's us teaching younger kids to not make assumptions, because they're gonna literally know right away what we're feeling. If they're like, hey dad, can we have a candy? Or hey Bianca, can we have a candy right now? And they hadn't had dinner, and I'm just gonna be like, no. Or dad's gonna be like, no, you can't have a candy. And they're gonna be like, oh, and they're just gonna think like, dang, dad never lets me have candy. Or Bianca never lets me have. And I'm like, you guys can have a candy, but after you guys have your dinner. Of course you can have a candy, but I'm not going to just tell you no.
Right.
And
the way we were raised, like mom, no, because I said no.
Yeah,
that's it. They're like,
so,
okay.
and the kids are like, why? Because like, sorry. And I keep going. I'm like but cool. It's like every child, like from right when you're born to, I mean, I don't know what's the cutoff date, but every child goes through childhood trauma, regardless if they live in a good family home or not. Because the first moment your mom tells you no, that's trauma. Even they're 2 years old and they're like, no, don't touch that. And they don't know why touching an outlet is bad, but they're like, oh, my mom just told me no for the first time. And they don't even can't even talk, but they just know that's trauma. And so in our brain, like trauma's building, even though it's not,
and here's, you just brought up something real quick. That's very important, because think about it this way too. That same kid, like a lot of us, older generation, were raised just no, and that's it. But then a lot of times we'll be curious and we'll do it again. We'll keep doing it, right? And without explanation. But now, if you break it down and explain why, electricity, you electrocuted, this is what happened. That could probably resolve a lot of that for the kid even doing it, because they're like, oh, I get it, right? They get it,
right? Like the trauma of like, oh, my mom yelled at me. Oh, but I know.
Right. So
I don't cares about me. She loves me.
I don't know why historically that's been a pattern of not explaining anything to kids. I don't know where that started. Maybe it was just parents just didn't want to explain anything.
I feel like again, like you learn so much from TikTok and Instagram and stories and reels. It's like now there's like therapy's good, but it's not embarrassing to go to therapy anymore. Right. You go to therapy, and I know some families or some cultures is like, you don't go to therapy, you don't need it. But it's like, it's so healthy nowadays to talk about your emotions. And I was telling him, like, now that we're together, we're a team. Like, because I noticed I was wanting to be a therapist growing up, but I noticed that I realized like I would take it home. I would bring it home for sure. But I noticed that in our relationship, I'm like, hey, we should do this for Anthony's Tacos, or hey, we should do this. And I noticed him like just staying more and more quiet, and then just being like, okay. And I would keep asking him, and I'd be like, so do you want to do this? Okay, but do you want to do this? And he's like, I don't know, babe. And I'm like, okay, but why? And I'm like, do you want to sell salsas today? Like, I can help you bottle them. And he's like, no. And I'm like, okay, but why? Like, I can do the bottles. Like, we can sell salsa. And he's like, no, not today. And I'm like, but you can literally make money right now, And I'm like, okay. So then after, like, not in the moment, because I would see him getting frustrated. I'm like, okay. When we were best friends, we would have best friend talks. And I told him, like, I don't want to stop that. We're going to have relationship talks, like sidebar talks, And so I'm like, when you tell me just no, when I'm wanting the best for you, that doesn't help the situation out, because I want to know the why, because I'm wanting you to succeed. Right. And I don't want to assume that you're just thinking. So again, I don't want to assume, agreement number 3, that you're just thinking that my opinion and idea is dead or it's dumb, because I'm thinking like, he thinks my idea is dumb. And I'm going to assume that he just doesn't like my idea, or assume that he just whatever. And I'm like, I need to know why.
Yeah.
And he's like, or this guy had been, one of his friends, Crash, had been wanting salsa. And he's like, man, like, do you have salsa today? Oh, no. Okay. Do you have salsa? I have my bottle. Like, yeah. And we had a bunch of salsa in the fridge one day. And I was like, Crash knows where we live. Like, do you want to just invite Crash over, have him buy a bottle of salsa? You'll make your money. And like, we can get rid of some salsa. And he has his own bottle. We have bottles. And he like, he just kept telling me no. So in our later conversation, I was like, let's explain. We need to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes on and further explains like, okay, I get it now. So this is why. And I was like, so why in that moment did you say no? And he's like, well, because we had so many things to do today. And then we would have to make sure that we were home by a certain time, and we had to execute X, Y, Z. And then in other situations, like the reason why I didn't make salsa is because we had to sell burritos and this and that. And then we had to get here by a certain time. And I just didn't want you take, X amount of time to get ready. I know that you procrastinate on things, and then it wouldn't, and I'm like, I get it now. If you would have just said, baby, we don't have time. Like, you have to get ready still, and it takes you an hour and a half to get ready. And I would have been like, all right, baby, we won't sell salsa today. And I wouldn't go get ready. But if not, then I spent 5 minutes asking, well, why?
Yeah.
Why aren't we selling salsa? And that could have saved us 5 minutes,
Sure.
Communication is like everything. And it saves me from assuming the worst of you thinking about me,
Very
communication is key.
Very true.
And then the fourth agreement is always do your best, because if you're always doing your best, you can't fail that day. And I think that's like one of the best things is like, as long as mentally, like that is the best you could do today. Like, even if like you went to, like, you have every intention of working out today, right? You have your whole workout, and then you get there and you do the first 3 workouts and you're like, man, like I'm having such a hard day, and like, I don't think I can further go. That's not a failure, because you did your best. And if you went home and just took a bath and mentally for yourself, just rested and slept, well, you did your absolute best today. Then there's another thing is like, if you went to the gym and then you kind of just like looked around and you were like, and you kind of didn't do anything, and you're knowing like, I really don't want to get on that treadmill, or I really don't want to go do those weights. And you kind of just like messed around for a little bit, and like, mentally, like you just knew, like you just didn't do it, and you spent a whole hour there doing nothing.
Right.
Well, you didn't do your best, but it's like, if you're constantly trying to do your best, whether it's exceeding the whole problem or not, it's like always doing your best. You're going to go to sleep that night saying, I know I did the best I could today. And that's what I'm constantly trying for every day, like in our relationship, in our communication, in my business and his business, like constantly doing the best and like constantly trying to communicate always. I think that's like the biggest thing of like our whole relationship is like communication, which like he's worked on it a lot. It's been really good.
Oh man.
I mean, yeah, that
so
all sounds good for
fire.
relationship, for business partners, just in general, overall life. Those are 4
That's
great
gold.
things to follow.
That is heat right
create
there.
some success.
Yeah, shout out to the 4 agreements of life.
4 agreements of life, guys. Man, that's awesome, man. Miss Bianca. Man, I think we should end it there. That's fire. That's hot.
Yeah,
I think
good stuff.
that summed it up, guys. I mean, inspirational and motivational this podcast was. I mean, shout out to Anthony, Bianca.
Absolutely.
Amazing things, young business minded people, entrepreneurs. It's amazing.
Striving forward. That's it.
Absolutely.
The only direction.
Man.
Thank you.
Shout out to
Thank you.
Man. Blessings. Gonna have you guys back too. So next time you probably have a actual place, a brick and mortar, maybe if that's the goal, and boom. And hopefully you're not too big for us next time. Come back around.
Can I get a yee?
Yee.
Thanks.
All right, guys. Well, it's been a pleasure. Heat Speakers again, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Catch us on Instagram.
And try yourself some tacos
And Anthony's Tacos. Woo.
or burritos,
Fire.
whatever you feel like,
Let's go.
or salsa if they have it that day. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Till next time.
Man.